Hello, Rob here from the Flanagan Homestead. I'm standing out here on this particular piece is my campground property. I have 10 acres. It's technically zoned timberland, but I also have a campground, so I've got trees and trails and cabins and hobbit houses and whatnot. And I'm here to talk about having owned small timberland for the last 30 years. Here's 4 tools that I think that you need beyond the obvious tools, like a chainsaw. Obviously, everybody needs a chainsaw if you're going to have tree property like this. But here's some tools that make my life easier. The first one I want to talk about is this choker that's kind of designed for homesteads. Now, this is not a real big timber choker that you would like to see the Pacific Northwest loggers out here using all the time. But this is just perfect for me. There's about 16 feet of cable on it, and it's got these 2 rings, and I really like this this metal probe to help get it underneath the logs. I'll talk about that more in a second. But after you get around the log, you just simply slide this through. It chokes down really tight, and I like these rings because they could just set right on the hitch of my commander. I have a commander out here, my quad, my truck, they can just hook onto that. Also, I do happen to have an excavator, and it fits right on the tooth of an excavator. So if I tip the bucket up, I can hang this on it and then pull things around. But this has been very valuable for me. We just pulled out a pretty good sized pile of alders. Now, this is not, again, made for big trees. I've heard some people complain about these, they don't hold up. They only hold about 3,000 pounds, but I have a lot of alder that are 12 inches in diameter or less on this property, and logs I need to get out of the way for my trails. So this is perfect for doing that. One recording, I forgot to mention the actual name of this. This is a Tuff brand one. There are other brands that you could use. I happen to buy this one off of Amazon. Okay, I'm going to use this log as an example because it's out in the open where we can get a good camera angle on it. I have a lot of trees that are this big or a little bit smaller, a little bit wider, and it goes 30-40 feet long. And when it's laying on the ground, trying to get a cable underneath it could be really hard. Before I had this, I got frustrated with that quite often, but this probe stake that's on the end of this really proves handy when you just stick it underneath there and find a spot that it'll go through, grab onto the other side, and then you can pull the cable through and you're in good shape. Stick the buckle through. We're cinched down, ready to go. These logs were recently drug out of the woods with that choker, brought over here, and then the excavator was used to stack them up in a nice pile. Number 2 on my list is a really simple one, but it makes a huge difference for me. And I have my hand pruners, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my holster. If you don't have a holster, I don't know what you're doing. I have this on my hip literally every day of the year. I used to try to carry it in the pocket, it'd punch holes, fall out. When you have the holster, it sits there perfectly right in the right spot. I have the holster and my Leatherman on my hip every day of the year. The Leatherman's smaller, so I keep it more forward. The hand pruner holster on my side, and so when I bend over, it doesn't hit. But like I said, I have it all the time on my hip. One time I was moving the animals across the canyon, and I didn't have my work clothes on because I thought I'm just going to run them over there, they'll follow me. And sure enough, there's branches or twigs or whatever there, and I wanted to go clip them off, which by nature I clip and keep the trail clear. And I put my hand on my hip, and I was like, oh, I'm not in my work clothes today, and I almost felt naked not having it on. So we all have our pruners. Get a holster, keep this on your hip. The next thing on my list is a power pruner. Mine happens to be a Stihl GTA 26. My wife wanted this for working around the yard, and at first I thought it was kind of silly. After I bought it for her and I found out how powerful this is and how long the battery lasts, I steal it from her all the time, and I'm using it quite a bit. I do prefer to have the holster again because you cut branches off and then you're going to need to move them away. It's not required, but honestly the holster makes it a lot better. Again, I use it for pruning my fruit trees, but one of the things I really like it for is, here's another place where I have a campground trail. I want to keep it open for my commander or people walking through. And my property that's been replanted has tree branches growing in everywhere. They're a little bit too big for the hand pruner, so the power pruner gets in there and gets them down really quickly and really easily. So you can get into a tree and go around it and get right up to the trunk all over the tree without having to have a whole lot of space like you would with a regular chainsaw. The last thing that you need to have is a splitting axe by Fiskars. Now I call it an axe, I know it's supposed to be a splitting maul, but it's not really as wide as a maul. It does have a good split, but you could swing it really quickly and it does pop and split things better than I thought. I got this on the recommendation of the people down in our local saw shop. My wife actually went in to get me a splitting maul for Christmas and they said he wants this. And when she brought it home and I used it, very happy. This maul just blows up alder, which is a pretty easy wood to split. Here's some maple here that's supposed to be a little bit tougher, but it usually does a really good job on it. So there you go, 4 tools I wouldn't want to go without here on my property with a lot of trees on it. I have my Fiskars splitting axe, my Stihl power pruner, my Homestead choker cable, and of course the holster for my pruners on my hip. Thanks for joining me on the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business, teaching including horticulture is my job, and outdoor projects are my passion. Hope to see you again soon. Be blessed, everyone.